Facebook Live, or holy shit, Instagram Live. Welcome to episode 3 of Special Sessions Live's picture show. Tonight we're going to cover the comedy classic Easy Money, and my co-host Dave's just signing on. Let's get him on here. Question. Fuck out of here. These things come so difficult. What's this? There you go. We're gonna do this episode is I have the movie on the TV, and we're just gonna cover this dude's beard's gone.
It's gone. I fucking shaved it off. It's gone. It sucked.
Well, like beards. Beards. I don't know. I mean, like, they could go either way. Like post January 6th, 2021. I really don't want to see scraggly beards anymore for a little bit,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they might think you're some kind of fuck ass,
I had it. I hadn't shaved for like 14 months, and
God, I would go nuts. It's been a week since I've just trimmed this, and I can't wait for the morning.
Well, I haven't been anywhere, so I looked in the mirror the other day, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, dude, it was mammoth. I was like, oh, okay.
And then I shaved it off. I'm like, God, my face is so small. What the hell happened?
Yeah, those things are like, motherfuckers commit to those shits. Like, I just can't do it, man.
Yeah, hold on one second. My fucking thing. Hold on. Why can't this go away?
Send a request to be in your live video. Yeah, you're on it.
Yeah, just ignore. There's this thing on my screen that won't go away. We're going to get to the show real quick, I promise.
Yeah. Dude, who cares? We're the only people here for now, and when I repost this, I'll just edit it out. Or just leave it here because it's real. It's organic.
You don't see like this big window in front of me that says send?
Yeah, I'll just...
Hold on one second. I'm going to back out of the video. Hold on.
I'm just going to invite you again. There, maybe it'll go away. It's kind of going away now. Fucking technology, man. Let me get Elon Musk up in here. Look real weird. He's a bad motherfucker, though. Okay, so I invited Dave again. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so
back.
Easy Money. Did you start the movie yet, or should I start it over?
Yeah, hold on. I got it up here.
I'll start it over.
Just play it. We'll both play. Who gives a shit?
Well, how about we do this? I'm gonna let it play.
Do you see this like bubble in front of my face that tells me that you don't see anything?
No, okay. You're good. You're on.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it right after the 5-minute credits.
Yeah.
And the opening. Okay, so
the credits.
Let me know when you get to the 5:55 point, and we'll just talk until you get there. Oh dear God!
The credits for this movie are really long, which is hysterical because the movie's like, I think it's less than 90 minutes.
Yeah,
such a long opening credit sequence.
Yeah, it's Joe and I used to do this thing that we came up with a parody of Criterion Collection called Cafeterian Collection. This was when we were like, I don't know, young teenagers, like maybe 13, 14. And we talked about how the Easy Money, at the time, DVD was going to be like 30 discs long. Then you had to subscribe to get different volumes because there's going to be so much features. And there was a big... We would always compare the opening trailers of him... the character Monty, who's a child photographer, Rodney Dangerfield's character, to the opening scene credits of Seven, where John Doe's working on his books and, exploring the opening credits, I think, is with the documentary that was just about the opening credits of Easy Money.
It's kind of, yeah. I'm looking at
I
it right
get it.
now.
It's like, hey, we bought the rights to the Billy Joel song. We're going to use the Billy Joel song,
Yeah,
and we're going to make up for screen time. You know?
I'm having a really difficult time fast forwarding and rolling. Oh, there we go. All right. What did you say? 5:55.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. It's
at.
just pretty much when they're in the Monahans.
I'm at
Pretty much.
four. I can't. I'm at 4:57. My Fire Stick remote is fucking dumb. I have
Okay,
this.
so
I have the subtitles on. So the director of this movie, James Signorelli,
mhm.
had a really small feature film career. I think he only directed one other movie after this, and it was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Um, but
Wow, I didn't know that, dude. That gives this movie so much goth cred. It's
he,
ridiculous. God damn.
but he also, I mean, he did a lot of commercials. I still think he does commercials. He did a couple episodes of Saturday Night Live. But the other big thing that he did, other than this and Elvira, is he was a cinematographer at the beginning of his career, and he
Mhm.
shot Superfly.
Cool. Well, he's a bad motherfucker then, because this is one of my favorite comedies ever.
Yeah,
A little other history. While we're pretty much just they're establishing characters. Most of this movie is just establishing characters and Rodney Dangerfield gags. But this came out in '83, which is right off the height of Rodney's. I believe it was his on-screen debut in Caddyshack,
yeah.
and
It's
uh,
interestingly enough, he's not considered the lead of that movie just because, like, I guess because it's an ensemble. Because this is considered his like first lead.
yeah, this is his first endeavor. He wrote it. He, part of wrote it. And if you ever watch the Rodney Dangerfield young comic specials, he always had little sketches here and there that at least started. And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of played out just like this, just simple gags, which transferring that to film is really difficult to make it funny because you're dealing with timing. But Rodney knew what the fuck he was doing. Like people, I think he kind of he's such a caricature that people forget how genius that motherfucker really was as a comedian,
Yeah,
and transferring that to movies because there was a lot of comedic actors who transferred to film and it just wasn't funny,
yeah.
or stand up comics and it just wasn't that funny and he just seemed to excel, you know.
Well, his whole spiel is he was just himself,
Yeah,
and there was no one better than Rodney. He was so fucking
no,
funny. The
no, there
my
was.
the other great thing about this movie, and I mean I brought this up to you countless times, when you watch it and you just watch him do his thing. Like right now, I'm on the scene where
He's in the
he's
wedding.
yeah he has the Roach Motel in the bathroom. In the
Oh, okay,
bathroom.
okay.
Uh,
So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
so I watch it every time I see it, and I'm like, Jesus, he is on so much speed right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, he loved weed. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Uses his okay. So this is what makes this movie special, and this is why we picked it. So historically, this was the movie that knocked National Lampoon's Vacation out of the top of the box office,
After
and
three
it's like
weeks.
another movie off of the successes of Caddyshack.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but this movie, and we talked about it earlier, and one reason why I picked this is because I watched this movie growing up, and I felt like I was in my neighborhood. I kind of felt like I was in my family, or at least people I knew and understood. Whereas, like the Griswolds, they were quirky and they were funny. I mean, those movies are funny. Don't get me wrong; they're really funny movies. But they're fucking wasps. You know what I mean? It's like they go on family vacations to Europe. They fucking they're cultured. They wear have these really stuffy Christmas parties. And this
The,
fucking movie is the polar not the polar opposite, but this is really I hate to use the term because well, Jeff Foxworthy and all those guys are amazing, but blue collar, this is kind of like a blue collar East Coast comedy, pretty
yeah.
much.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing is, I like my my family was, I don't want to say exactly like this growing up, but
Hmm.
I had more in common with this family than I did in, say, Vacation. But I was friends with people that had more in common with the Griswolds.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you know what I
Definitely
mean?
not in the neighborhood I grew up in. I guess in other neighborhoods, there was definitely some waspy people. But most of at least North Braddock, I mean, we were surrounded by bars. So these kind of guys who were dads who would go out at night, and
Yeah.
party and whatever. Uh,
I'm at the scene where the mom tells him that his entire
oh
body
yeah,
is bloodshot.
yeah. Okay, so let's get to the plot line of the movie. So this movie is about a guy, and I believe Rodney pretty much just wrote this, and it's pretty much him, uh, just living his life partying, and they establish that his young daughter's getting married to a gentleman named Julio, and he's played by the late great Taylor Negron, one of the oddest, his most hysterical comedians and character actors of that. I mean, he's been in so many movies.
He
A lot
was
of
in
times he's just cast it. He's just billed as himself because his characters won't have names, and
Yeah.
it's either like a gas station attendant or a convenience store guy or a pizza delivery guy, and it'll just be like Taylor Negron as himself.
Yeah. He was also in one of my favorites growing up, even though it was no one else's favorite growing up, but Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah, Nothing But Trouble is a fucking crazy movie.
Yeah,
Eventually, we'll cover that. That's a weird movie. Everybody
we'll get
knows
down
it.
the line. It's one of those movies that came out pretty much everyone hated, but now it's like fantastic. How about we didn't talk about Joe Pesci trimming his
Okay.
armpit hair. Joe
Yeah,
Pesci
yeah.
was in this movie, by the
So
way.
let's give. You know what? This is hard doing the shot by shot. So let's just pull back a little bit. Maybe we could just fast forward to a scene
Yeah,
because there's just so much to talk about, and doing scene by scene, it's just not working.
I'm just gonna follow your lead. I already watched it and turn it off.
So this movie's about, pretty much that guy, that dad guy. Um, and these were like cool dads. You know what I mean? Like dads now, like the dad shoes and the tight blue
Yeah,
jeans, and like dads
Crocs.
now, like your typical like a different side of a boomer. Um, there's just nothing fun about them. I see them all the time, and they always just look so pissed off. Whereas like these dads are like fucking smoking joints in the middle of the afternoon, like day drinking. I mean, like, look, is this good male behavior? Probably not. But would you rather be around like Monty from Easy Money, or would you rather be around a fucking, I don't know, a fucking boomer, like your typical boomer, you know? Those
Um,
people that fucking, they like to wait in line. They like to be first for everything. Like, yeah, yeah, he's mother. Yeah, I'm pissed. Fucking, I went to see a movie with my mom a couple years ago. Okay, and it was like a 10:30 a.m. movie, maybe even earlier than that. You know how the gates of the movie theater at the mall are like shut until they open. Well, these fucking slobs in their fucking New Balance shoes and tight jeans, they just stand there and stare at it, and they're looking at like the people working, like angry at them. It's like, dude, they're opening up.
I think was that your mom or was that me? I feel like I was there.
Well, we've seen it. We've all seen it.
Oh
I think
yeah,
it's every time you're there, and this is how the fuck they behave. And they're all up each other's asses. And then as soon as the gate opens, what do? They rush over to the goddamn concession stand to wait in another line.
yeah.
And
They
they look at those people like, "What are you doing?" It's like they're just young kids, like fucking opening up. Like it's
they
9:30 in the morning. Like what's your problem?
they stand at that gate with like their nose like touching the gate, waiting for them to open, and they
That's,
come in like
that's,
fucking
that's why this
RoboCop.
fucking virus spreads so much, because these fuckers are just dry humping each other all the time. Like, you fucking stupid bastards. Like seriously, like for real. That's why, like I said, that's why, like, he's like the dad in this, and the male characters in this movie, like, they want to. Okay, so it's the dad who goes to the bar, smokes pot, maybe does a bump of coke, gambles around strippers. Like, yeah, these are not decent virtues. But would you rather that guy, or would you rather these fuckers that are all over the place, and they're so pissed off at everybody all the time? Like, I see it at work. It's like they're waiting in line to come to my counter, and they just stare as if like things are going to change. And I know what they're thinking. I've heard them talk. They say, "Oh, government workers." Like, fuck you, asshole. Like, what do you do for your job?
Oh man!
Like, really, what do you do? Like, you're not retired. What do you do? You're here,
I'm so glad that we picked this movie and scheduled it to be done after you got off work.
Well, that's because okay. So the cool thing about this movie is most of the movie. Well, his job is completely different. His job. Okay, so he plays a baby photographer. Okay. So that has to be stressful, but at the same time, I mean, it's really not that bad. Like,
right off the bat, you're like, okay, I see where you're going with this. There's the kid with the hammer. Is that before with the little girl, or was that the second scene where he's like doing the baby photography stuff?
That was just the beginning. He was just taking pictures at a birthday party. So there's a scene, there's a lot of things with kids in this movie that they would never be able to do now.
No, that was the point I was getting at. Well,
of course they kind of do, because I don't know if you saw the Neighbors movies. I think it was the second Neighbors movie. Yeah. The daughter got a hold of Rose Byrne's dildo and put like a Barbie dress on it, and they just let her play with it. So you could get away with it if it's funny, but the opening of this movie, he's trying to cheer her kids up, and he has this little puppet, Bobby Bunny, and as soon as he lifts it up, joints just fall out of the fucking bunny, like 6 or 7. Like, that's gangster. Like, to just roll around with like 6 or 7 joints. But then that's what's so great about this movie, is they just have fun the whole movie.
He also, Nate just texted me. I think he's having a good time watching.
What's up, Nate? Is he even on here?
I think he got off to text me. But the one scene. Well, actually, no, it's the same scene with the puppet. When he asked her how much she is, how old she is, and she does. Mm-hmm. That like 5, and he goes, all right, well, call me back when you're that many.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's this, and I'll tell you what, I rewatched that scene the other night, and I think Rodney, in his own way, kind of conquers what they call today toxic masculinity, because obviously the little boy who was there kind of embodies that. Like, he's like he drools. He's got food all over his face. He's mean to you. He's like, he's talking to other girls. He left you for, what did he say? He left you for a pail and shovel. Like, and he was basically being really cool with the young lady, telling her like, look, basically, you're going to deal with fucking assholes like this the rest of your life. That's what I'm saying. The character Monty Capuletti, which is obviously an homage to Romeo and Juliet, the Capulets and Montagues. Oh, shit, I'm at the part where they're getting the wedding cake. But I digress, because that's what I do. But
that wedding cake, they didn't... It's not in a box.
Yes, it's not in a box. They just give it to him. They didn't even hold the door open. Okay,
So when Joe
Just
Pesci
saw
knocks
this
the
scene
lady
where they
over.
pushed the old ladies out of the way, which were clearly like grown men dressed as old ladies. Like they were taller than Rodney and Joe Pesci. But okay, so the plot of this movie is well, one of the subplots, and I read Roger Ebert's fucking vomitorium of a fucking low life
Review.
fucking review of this movie, and
Spoiler
it was
alert:
just
he
like
didn't
it's
like
just a
it.
bunch of gags, and it's like, yeah, but that's fucking funny. It's fun.
Yeah,
You know, it's like really when does a movie just get to be fun? Like, I mean, there's a lot of movies like that. I'm sorry, there's a lot of comedies that are just fun, and they tend to be like the biggest hit movies that everybody like Hangover, Old School, you know, Super Bad movies where people are just out partying, having a good time.
mm-hmm.
You know, those are like the perfect movies. But this one's really like these guys do this a lot. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, but anyways, I have to shut the movie off because it's on the TV and it's too fucking fun. But anyways, so his daughter, played by
Jennifer
Jennifer
Jason
Jason
Leigh.
Leigh. Oh my God, she's so hella fine in these movies. She's still a very attractive woman. Is still a tremendous actress, and you know, I'm really glad she has like a bigger resurgence now. But she
Mm-hmm.
plays the daughter who's going to marry Taylor Negron, and most of the movie's just him getting ready for his daughter's wedding. He's just
Yeah,
getting ready for another party, really.
yeah,
Like
basically,
he's just
which is
getting
what
ready
it
to
boils
fucking
down
party.
to.
You know,
Yeah.
and he's you know, he's you could tell he's all about it. Like it's weird, you never really see the mom doing any wedding prep stuff in this movie, other
Yeah,
than
yeah.
like
It's all him.
just the dress, but everything else is just it's all Rodney's show. It's
Mm-hmm.
all his show for his little girl, which is fucking awesome, you know. Uh so they're getting married, and there's this great thing they do with this. It's so East Coast, and so like Taylor Negron's character is Puerto Rican. I don't think they establish it, but definitely
No.
in
Wait, he's Puerto Rican, I think,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So in the synopsis, they pretty much said there, but they don't just say he's Puerto Rican. I mean, there's you know they say Spanish restaurant or a couple times they talk about that, but and then Italian family. So you know it's gonna be a fucking banger of a party.
Yeah.
Like for real, like, and that's another special thing about this movie is like, especially in the neighborhood I grew up when everybody had little yards that were just divided by fences. Like aerial view, it doesn't really, it just looks like one yard with little blobs of concrete, you know?
Mm.
There's an amazing scene of the wedding, and there's an amazing shot in this movie where they do an aerial view of the yard, and it's just all these Italians and Puerto Ricans crammed into this little yard, just throwing the fuck down.
I
Oh
like
man, it's
it's a
special.
pretty
That brings back memories, man.
it's a
Every
pretty wide shot too.
yeah,
I like all the other yards are empty,
yeah,
completely empty.
yeah, and
Um,
this is just this big, you know, like there's only a couple crane shots, and I remember you brought up the wedding scene where he's directing traffic.
it's a nightmare. There's a,
Yeah, it's a nightmare. He plays it so
that
well.
scene is a nightmare. So there's this scene in the movie. It's right after they get married, and it's outside the church, and he's trying to
Mhm.
direct traffic, like people coming down the street, people pulling out of the parking lot for the church, and it's this giant fucking obnoxious traffic jam. And it starts with, I think it's a close up, and then it pulls back into a crane shot, and you just see this huge traffic jam that he's basically caused. And
Remember,
I
he
mean,
almost gets hit at one
he
point.
almost gets hit.
He's
Yeah,
like, back it up, turn the wheel.
the whole scene. I didn't even think the scene was funny. I was like stressed out. Like,
Oh,
oh
it's
my god,
stressful as hell, you
it's a
know.
that shot. That whole scene is a nightmare.
I used to direct traffic at Atlantic Funeral Home.
Wait, what?
I used to, when I worked at Lanigan's Funeral Home, one of my jobs was directing traffic in the lots down in East Pittsburgh. Holy fuck. I'd be doing that shit in the dead of the winter. You'd be telling old people, there's no parking left here, and they would just turn like, ah, yeah, fucking. Then they go, where's the parking? Well, I told you there's no parking here. You have to go up here. Well, what am I supposed to do? Walk down the street? I'm like, yeah. These are the people that raised the people I was talking about earlier, you know? Fucking miserable hunkies. Holy fuck. And that's another thing about this movie. These cats are all, I mean, even though Dangerfield's Jewish, was Jewish, and I believe like maybe Eastern European a little bit, but he's playing an Italian. Like they pretty much, you know, are like, he doesn't play the Goomba. It's just his name, and it's like a guy, you know. It's just like an Italian guy. And obviously Joe Pesci's in this, you know.
Yeah, it's great too.
And it's like, here's the thing, like, I was getting ready to do a spiel on this about how comedically brilliant Joe Pesci is, and everybody thinks of him as this gangster. But then you really think about all of his roles, even when he's funny, and there's this tremendous streak of violence. Even if he's not stabbing someone or murdering someone, like this movie, like he goes like, we all have those friends. It's like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
You know?
That's him.
Like, he's down to throw down at like any given moment.
Well, they have the scene at when they go to the casino and they lose the race. And you see their horse coming in last, and you hear Joe Pesci. Well, you don't know who it is at first. You just hear someone yelling, "I'll kill you!"
Yeah. Look at him. He thinks he's water skiing. Well, the race was rigged. The jockeys started pulling back. Like it was like even Tom Noonan points out like he's pulling back. And
by the way, Tom Noonan.
Okay, so Tom Noonan is oh my God, Tom Noonan. He plays a role of just one of his buddies. He doesn't really say anything in this movie. Like it's pretty much like, I think this is just what Tom Noonan is like. Like he mostly plays psychopaths brilliantly. He's a brilliant character actor.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think, well, I mean, and I didn't know this until you told me last week, but that character was originally meant to be played by
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. So, you know, I would imagine that Bill probably dropped out relatively early.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had probably already been filming when they got the call, like, yeah, he's not coming.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if it's because just Tom Noonan is just naturally like that, like kind of reserved, or if maybe he's like, I'm like, literally, I was replaced like 5 minutes ago, and I don't have my lines memorized.
I mean, he's still he still has his moments where he's funny in it. Like there's a scene where they're eating at the Mexican restaurant, and like, so let's not go that far ahead because we're not even. It finally gets to a plot. There is a point of this movie. Like the first chunk of this movie is just the wedding.
Yeah.
And him partying around it and somehow holding it together for this wedding. You know, there's a classic scene where obviously we talked about earlier, him and Joe Pesci are taking the wedding cake out of the bakery. It's not in a box. They didn't give them a cart. It's just this open cake. They're not holding the doors open for them. They're struggling. And Joe Pesci's character is a plumber. So they put it in the back of his plumbing truck. And Rodney Dangerfield goes, "You don't think it's going to slide, do you?" And he goes, it's like, "No, I wedged it up against the toilet." Like, and here's the funny thing. Like, because it's clearly kind of the summer, kind of. They're driving around for most of the day and into the evening with the wedding cake in the van, not even covered.
Totally exposed.
Totally exposed.
Next to a toilet.
Next to a toilet. Not even that. It could probably fucking melt. I mean, after they pick up the gig, he goes and does some baby photos, and it was quick, and he probably got paid a good amount of money because that's at that time, like before camera phones and all that shit, like being a photographer and shit was you'd make money, like because people didn't have, they might have a point and click or a box camera, but they weren't capturing all this shit. So at that time, you could have a fucking good business just doing that.
Yeah.
But then they just go to the partying. They go to the track. They lose at the track, and they go to the bar.
How about when they go to pull into the spot? And they push it out of the way.
Great part where they're like pulling into this casino, and like there's no parking. They finally find a spot, and the race is getting ready to start. And this car of these fucking they're kind of wasps too, but it's all these fucking young Reaganite dudes in polo shirts in this little like old Porsche or something, and they pull right into their spot, and like they're all flipping out, and they're like, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Get out of here!" And Rodney's like, "They're just kids. Let them go. Like, fuck it, they're just kids." And then he goes, "Okay, Nikki, take care of this." They just drive into the spot and just push the car into a ditch. And then it's like they go straight to the track. Like there's no solving this, what they just caused. There's no cops.
It's not out of the way either. It's literally they push them into like a deep ditch. Like they fall.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit. Like they're probably not okay.
So, and you brought up when we went to the casino once. What was it, Meadows?
We went to the Meadows and watched the horse races. Yeah.
In like the dead of February. It was so fucking sad. There wasn't like anybody there, The jockeys weren't even real jockeys. Those weren't real jockeys. Those guys were. All the horses were tired. The jockeys were like big fat dudes.
It was all muddy and shit.
It was fucking terrible. It's the worst. It was the worst thing I've ever seen, actually. Like, you have this beautiful big racetrack, and and it was the first time I've ever seen something like that live. I couldn't breathe because it was so bad. And we were laughing so hard. I remember there was that guy who was like the same age as us. It was just, he was a real degenerate gambler. Like, that dude's Foxville. He's one of those dudes who like went to college and then got hooked to like online poker and just dropped out of college to play online poker and then fucked himself over,
Yeah.
Probably pills and shit too. Probably dead. That guy's probably dead. But anyways, like, I think that's why, like, this movie is so great, too, because it's just about people going out, having a good time. You know what I mean? Like, there's no call to adventure. Like, Hangover has a call to adventure. It's like, oh, we got to figure out what happened to our friend and what we did last night. And like, oh, it's a bachelor party. Oh, we have to have the best night ever. This movie is just like, it just happens to be a Friday afternoon. Mm-hmm. And everybody gets off work and they go to that bar. Dude, that bar, that bar, I've never seen a bar in a movie look so much like a bar.
Yeah, it had to have been a real fucking bar. They didn't dress it at all. They just walked in and be like, we're going to film right here. Right, because, even like, Swingers obviously was one of those movies where it had great bar scenes, because, Favreau knew what he was doing. And he picked, cool bars. So it felt like you were in a bar. But, like, even if you watch, like, Scorsese's, what was the one we did with Harvey Keitel and De Niro? Mean Streets?
all those
too.
classic bar scenes, like it all kind of felt staged.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's beautiful shots. It's amazing, and the characters, yeah, you get it. But the shots of the bar and Easy Money, holy shit! And I've actually watched this movie in a bar.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow. I'm a
yeah.
little envious. I'm not gonna. I'm
Well,
not gonna lie.
Sheridan Cafe up in North Braddock, which was like right near where I lived. I used to go hang out there. Like family, it was my parents used to own that bar, and then another family took it over, the Catrins, which are close. They're basically family to us, and I would just go and hang out like by the poker machines and the video game machines and the pool table, and I would go in there, and every once in a while they would watch movies in the afternoon, or just put, because like
Mhm.
people think people go to the bars and it's just, it's like a Tom Waits song. No, it's not. Most of the time, it's not even just guys watching sports, because sports are normally on in the weekends and not on a weekday afternoon. But
Yeah.
people fucking drink on a weekday afternoon, not full-fledged alcoholics, but pretty much. Um, those motherfuckers
Basically.
will watch movies at a bar, and I've watched Easy Money in a bar at least once or twice.
Awesome.
It's a good
Fucking
way to
great.
watch it. But yeah, that bar looks like a fucking bar. And then doesn't the guy close the bar so they could
Oh
go to the
yeah.
track? Like
So they
everybody
can go to the
ditches their
casino.
job.
Yeah.
They're like, I gotta shoot these baby photos, and then the bartender's like, it's his bar. And
Yeah.
there's a guy sleeping at the bar, and he wakes up. Come on, we're closing up.
He took his
Get out
beer.
of here. He like
I,
takes his drink, dumps it.
I noticed too last night when I watched it, he gives his money back. Did you notice that? He reaches
Oh
behind him
yeah.
and
Oh
puts
yeah.
money.
Because he knows that guy's gonna come back, and if he takes
Yeah.
his money, the guy's, see, I got a bar to run. And then he leaves. And there's another thing too, and it's like one of those voiceovers, and it happens right after you hear Joe Pesci say, "I'll kill you, I'll kill you." It gets real quiet, and then you hear the bartender go, "And I was gonna buy a new neon sign." Like that's what he was gonna do for his winnings, buy a neon sign.
How about
Oh, God. Anyways, I had a blowout. Anyways, it's obvious I fucking love this movie. But I mean, here's the thing. It's just so relatable to me. Like, I get it. Like, I get all the characters, and there's even times where, like, I mean, we've been on lockdown for a year, dude. I miss just every once in a while just fucking going out.
yeah,
Just being stupid. I don't care where I go. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. We did that a lot too, and it's like I feel like one time we went out and did that, and then we went back. I think we went back to your place, and I think we put on Easy Money actually, or maybe
Yeah.
we came to my place. I can't remember. But yeah, it's just one of those movies. It's so fucking easy to watch,
Mm-hmm.
just compulsively easy to watch, and so identifiable.
Right.
If you grew up, in this area.
It's so
And
East Coast.
and
It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
fucking East Coast.
The
You
other
know.
thing is they like to call it the blue collar humor, but I don't know. It's
I mean, I guess. I mean, but you don't really see these guys. Like, I mean, two of them are
working.
plumbers, which and another guy owns a bar, and Rodney's character just. that's the thing. Like boomers are really not that blue collar. If you really think about it, I mean, yeah, if you own a construction company, yeah, but most of them you end up working for yourself, and then you just hire young people and skilled people, and you run your business. But most of them work fucking desk jobs, county jobs.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, me, fuck, there is water all over the place.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What about
Oh man, that was.
how
I
about
think
this?
every episode we're gonna have one of those. But that's what people want to see. It's what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
talk to you like this.
It's kind of unavoidable at this point. I don't know where my water went. But I think, but at this point in the movie, we actually have made it to the point where we kind of got ahead of ourselves when they're in the bar.
Who cares? Who cares?
Strip club.
Who fucking cares? Okay.
We're at the strip club where he says, "I'm the guy who put the bathrooms in."
Oh yeah, they're in strip club. Yeah.
Like that means something.
Yeah, who am I? I'm the guy who put the bathrooms in this joint. And then the guy goes, "Oh, no wonder why it smells so bad." Then Joe Pesci goes over the bar after him. Like, okay, so here's the amazing thing about another amazing scene, because this movie really is just a series of amazing scenes. Once you kind of get to the plot and what Monty has to do, I mean, it's funny because the movie remains funny, but the heart of the movie is just him living crazy,
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's what's special.
I can't help but when you get to the scene where he basically you find out that his wife's rich mother dies. And leaves it in her will that they would inherit $10 million, but he has to be clean and sober for a year. And that's kind of the meat and potatoes of the plot.
Right.
For me, though, it's like all these little vignettes of Rodney just being himself are just way more interesting than that plot.
I think the side plot with his daughter, Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, and Julio Taylor Negron, I think like that subplot's fucking hysterical too, because it's a little different. You have a guy and a young girl who just got married, and she's like, she's pretty much not ready to have sex yet. She's not ready to have her virginity, and like they're married, and it's just like there's a hilarious scene where he's there. It's their wedding night. It's after they leave the wedding, and they go like right down the street to like a motel. Like, they literally go down the block and go to a motel. And when I was a little kid, that music that's playing, it's like a disco kind of like, it's a mixture of like a salsa disco music type deal. That song used to make me laugh so fucking hard when I was a kid. And it's like, oh my God. Okay, so it's then revealed that she's not ready to have sex yet. And it's also revealed that Julio is like, I'm in love with this woman, like let's do this. And not in a really like forceful way. But he comes up with this fucking story on the spot. And this one's gonna be hard to get out. Because I was thinking about this earlier. Because it's a typical, like a lot of this stuff is really guy stuff, but it's not. I wouldn't call it incredibly toxic. His character, I wouldn't call him a toxic man. I mean, it's his wife. He's in love with her,
Yeah.
But he's trying to come up with this. He comes up with this story. And I'll just do it because it's hard to talk about without doing it. So he's like, Alison, my cousin wants to know a guy who married a virgin. And when it was their wedding night and it came time to consummate the marriage, she did not want to do it. And the next morning, they find the guy dead in the bed next to her. And he goes, Allison, I don't want to die. Oh my God. Okay, so let's break down how funny this story is. A guy I once knew had a cousin. It should just stop there. Oh, man.
When I saw this scene last night, I knew we were going to be in trouble with it.
Oh yeah, I just watched it. I think I say that like I think I say dead in the bed next to her. I think I say that like a million times, and it's funny when the people who know that line and know that from the movie, like it's like you have a better relationship. It's like learning how to speak Klingon, you know, but like you're not building it at the same time, you know. Like if someone came up to me and started talking Klingon, a part of me would be like, naturally, I would say, "Oh, cool, he must be in a Star Trek. That's cool. Yeah, I don't really like it." But deep down, I'm like, "Bro, really?" But yeah, that line for me, it's classic, and that becomes a subplot, and then they like he's trying. She says, "I keep thinking of my father," and he's like, "He's a million miles away," and then out of nowhere the phone rings, and it's fucking Rodney, and he goes, "Julio, I want to say it's a little girl," and like if you watch, like he's sad, and like Joe Pesci's like standing over him, looking at him like. It's both he's looking at him like he feels bad, but he's also looking at him like, you fucking asshole. Are you really calling your father right now? So the other hilarious subplot, because them two kind of break up, is Julio trying to get back with, was it Allison?
Allison, yeah.
Yeah, which is, oh my God, it's so hysterical. Because they're both like in love with one another, but they just don't know how to let go of being afraid of one another, pretty much. But and that leads to the most funny scene, one of the funniest scenes in the movie ever, of when they break into Rodney Dangerfield's house. Well, first he was outside Allison's window, okay?
Oh yeah.
And he has one of his buddies who is his groomsman, who I don't even think they give the guy a name. That guy's fucking hysterical too, and I don't even know his name.
They don't even really show him that much. He just fucking in the bush.
I mean, he dropped great lines, like in the wedding scene where Rodney's walking Allison down the aisle, and he Julio goes, "Isn't she beautiful?" And his buddy goes, "Yeah, but who's that with her?" And it's fucking a close up of Rodney just like grunting, like what the fuck, and just like you know.
Oh, so yeah, we got to go back. How about since we're at the wedding? How about the old lady that's crying at the wedding?
Yeah, she's crying the whole wedding, which is so like. Here's the thing, like we always debated watching that movie, what side was that coming from? You know, first, it wasn't until it was like really obvious, but they don't make it completely obvious at first. Is it coming from the Italian family or is it coming from the Puerto Rican family? Because culturally, I kind of feel both fucking do that. I've seen it. Yeah. I fucking cried at weddings. I don't really even give a shit. You know, it's like, oh, great. Yeah, these motherfuckers are in love. Cool. You know? And then you just lose it. It's a cultural thing. I don't know.
I think it was the Puerto Rican side, personally.
Yeah.
Just because
it was Julio's mom. Because remember they show Julio's father consoling him. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that Rodney Dangerfield sings the Italian song Funiculi Funicula, and that's actually a B-side to his hit record, Rappin' Rodney. I have that 45.
Damn, I didn't know that.
He had a rap song called Rappin' Rodney, but
I
the
knew
B
that.
side was Funicular, which really it should be backwards or the reverse, because him singing that song to me, like, that's a great moment in cinema history. Like Fox singing in the rain, you know. Rodney Dangerfield in his backyard singing Funiculita Funiculata, a bunch of Guineas and Puerto Ricans. You know, it's fucking amazing. I love that. It's shot really well too. Like there's like a real like good pan off of him, and it's just like so epic.
Mm-hmm. The movie actually had 2 cinematographers. One of them was fired a few weeks into it. So I wonder which one he shot. That one.
You know, movie's a classic with like one of the key components, like key workers in the movie's just fired mid-movie, and they just bring in somebody else.
Some other guy.
I want to know what he did.
Who knows? He probably. I don't know.
That would be a question to ask Joe Pesci. Yeah. Most people who would meet Joe Pesci, they, oh my God, I fucking love Goodfellas and Casino. And some people are like, oh, my cousin Vinny was great, which it was. They were all great. But I would be like, Joe, so Easy Money, the DP was fired and they brought in another guy. What did he do? And I tell you what, he might just walk away from you, but you will get his attention. That, or you'll get a really good story out of him.
No one's going to ask him about money.
That's the first thing I'd talk to him about. I'd be like, dude, how much weed and blow did you and Rodney do doing that movie? All of it?
All of it?
Everything Jeffrey Jones wasn't doing. We've ignored the fact that Jeffrey Jones is also in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because I try to ignore the fact that he's in the movie. Well, even when I'm watching it.
He's kind of that creep you just can't ignore, you know? But he took his creepiness and fucking weirdness in stride. Like, he didn't pull no Kevin Spacey where he's, you know, trying to do a character and he's being so operatic about it. You know, everybody's, you know.
And the weird thing is he's gotten work since all that shit happened. There was a lot of backlash. Jesus. There was a lot of backlash against HBO when they cast him in the Deadwood movie. He reprised his role from the series, but the series I think had come out before all of the allegations against him were known.
Oh, that shit was known for so. I kind of feel like I've always known that. Like I kind of felt when Devil's Advocate came out, there was something in the air that Jeffrey Jones was in the, you know, Young Guys, and I think there was some rumors going around that, you know, he was involved with Paul Reubens with something, and then that turned out to be completely untrue. That's one of those like pre-internet things where like the Richard Garrett gerbil or hamster thing, which I always thought was fucking stupid. I'm like, you're an idiot if you came up with that. And now, dude. Okay, I'm not going to tell it because it's not even funny. It's not even good to put out there. There was a rumor in high school that someone started about Little Bow Wow just to confuse and make people think it was true. He was basically like the original troll. Like he came up with some shit to tell people, you know, and people bought it. But I won't even tell the story. I'll tell you after. But it involved Little Bow Wow. And it was fucking, everybody believed it. Because there was no, like, I mean, you know, the internet was there, but there was no, like, TMZ or, you know, things didn't break, you know. Yeah. So you would just come up with a rumor and people thought it was true, you know. But, yeah, that covers Jeffrey Jones.
We'll talk after.
But Jeffrey Jones plays the brother-in-law. So what they established early on is Monty's wife, his family has money. They're very like old money, you know, and they also own a department store. It looks like downtown New York. So I think this movie takes place in Either I want to say either the suburbs of New York, but I kind of feel like it's in Jersey.
I don't.
I don't know.
I
I always felt it was Jersey.
I
I
feel
don't know
like
why.
it definitely. I feel like this. Well, it could be both. I feel like the suburbs were probably in Jersey, and then the city stuff is New York. They definitely filmed in one or the other. I don't
Yeah.
think they ever specify where the movie takes place. It's just sort of.
I mean, like, going to Jersey as a kid, it just always, the neighborhood just looked always more like Jersey than New York, but I could be wrong. I don't know. By the way, I think this is the longest thing that anybody's ever done as a fan or whatever about Easy Money. I don't think Easy Money's
Probably.
ever got coverage like this.
I don't, I'm giving it a thought, and it's like, was there anyone on Instagram that was involved with this movie that we could have tagged in it? But no,
No.
they're all dead or Joe Pesci.
Yeah, oh yeah. Rodney's dead. Tom Noonan's, he's not accessible really. Pesci, I don't know if anybody in his family's, we could reach out to him. I don't know. I thought about actually sending this to Joey Diaz because Joey Diaz is, man, he started talking about this movie on an episode of Rogan's podcast, and that's why I love Joey so much, is both a person and a human being, and I feel like I knew people like him. And the same thing with this movie. Like, he talked about how brilliant this movie was. He gets it. He's a movie guy. But he brought up this. But then outside of that, you never really hear. Everybody knows it growing up. Like, yeah, I remember I made a meme of. I put the movie back on. It's at the scene where the jockey's pulling back. $2,000 a piece. $2,000 a piece.
Step on his face.
Then he goes, I was going to buy a new neon sign. Oh, no. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii. Then they're like, the jockey's pulling back, and he goes, I'm not going to
Hawaii.
He thinks he's water skiing. Oh, man. Yeah, this movie's just fun. Like, we obviously screw the plot. But really, what it becomes about, you touched up on this earlier, is the mom leaves in her will that in order for her daughter's family to inherit pretty much the bulk of the estate, that Monty has to turn his life around. He has to give up booze, drugs, partying. He has to lose weight. He has to get fit. In order to, isn't it 10 months or something, or a year?
1 year. 1 year.
Yes, 1 year. So, I mean, the second half of the movie becomes him just trying to sober up, and there's some great scenes of him just being off the wagon, but like not in like a dramatic, like, leaving Las Vegas way where he's, not eating and,
Yeah.
And there's a great. It's funny because he actually does an homage to himself in this movie, and there's a scene where he's watching TV late at night because he can't sleep because he can't do drugs or booze or he can't smoke weed, and he's watching TV and he's changing channels late at night, and they actually play. Here's a commercial factoid. In 1983, Rodney Dangerfield got an award as Spokesperson of the Year for Miller, which is fitting because most of this movie, that's the beer that they're drinking, is Miller.
They weren't allowed to drink anything else because of that, actually.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a scene where he's watching, and we knew it as kids. Like, we knew that it was like him doing homage, but I never knew he became the Spokesperson of the Year, like a prestigious award, which he laughed at, And that's kind of the back of this movie. Doug, I just saw a Miller Lite neon sign.
Yeah, it's all Miller.
Oh, yeah, this is when Joe Pesci's going over the bar at the strip club. You shouldn't have male bartenders at a strip club. People are going to go after them. Every time I've been to a strip club, I've never seen one male bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move past that. That's a good factoid.
Yeah.
And that's probably why, because
Moving on.
what kind of horrible job would it be to a male, a dude, fucking bartender at a strip club?
Yeah, I'd have been pissed off too at those guys. I kind of don't blame him. He's a male bartender
Yeah.
at a strip club.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna bust my balls for?
Yeah.
Just watch.
Yeah. Just whatever. Oh man. But you would have someone wanting to fight them. Because one, it's just another dude there, and dudes are stupid. Especially when you get that's like another side to this movie that's true. Like dudes are stupid. You know, it is gonna happen. Like you're at a strip club, you're looking at women, and all of a sudden the dude gets in the way of things, and you know. Fuck. There was one time where a mutual friend of ours we didn't go to a strip club together. We ran into each other at a strip club. So then we're like, okay, well let's party, you know? And there
Oh no.
This is gonna be difficult.
It's happening again.
Some guy. We're sitting at the edge of the stage because we were going to see, there was like a stripper or a porn star was featuring that night. That's why we were there. It's not because we were there all the time.
I know
we had a reason to be there. We just didn't know we were going to be there. But obviously, you know, we went in. But there is at one point this guy was standing off to the side, and he just collapses. Like in the middle of the show. And like, I'm not going to say what they're doing on stage because, look, not all porn stars dance. Okay? Let's just put that. Sometimes if you go see like a feature at a strip club and it's a porn star actress, odds are, like, a lot of times, a lot of them nowadays could dance because maybe they've done that. But every once in a while, there's just some who just want to put on a show. So we thought this motherfucker like just couldn't handle it. He passed out, or he was just too drunk and passed out. Here, I think the guy had like a seizure or something, or a stroke, you know, and then they put him on a chair. But at first, we just saw him collapse. We just thought he was drunk and couldn't handle a good time. We were like, boo! No, really. That's a fucking horrible thing to do. But then once we found out, I mean, I think I got him a chair. Like, when they were helping him up, I got the guy a chair. Then you figure out, okay, this is a real concern. Okay, back to the show. Fuck him, you know? It was awesome. Like, that's a story, man. Sometimes you just gotta go out to see shit, you know, and that's another great thing about this movie. And I think that's why it's so fun to watch, because you're like, I wanna be there with these guys. And the way it's shot, it's only like 2 people, and there's not a lot of edits, and there's not a lot of cuts, and there's not a lot of blasting music. Like, if there's music on, it's because they're in the strip club, you know.
Yeah.
Which there's a Nick Lowe song on when they're in the strip club, which is pretty cool.
I didn't notice. I'll have to rewatch it.
Yes. So that has some good cred, you know. So we got Elvira, got Nick Lowe, pretty gangster, you know.
Superfly.
Oh my fucking God. That's probably why this movie looks so awesome.
Yeah, he shot fucking Superfly. How cool is that?
So I'm at the scene now where they go to a restaurant, and this is the amazing part, because we've been there.
Hold on, is this when they're drunk driving around trying to find?
Yeah. But right before that, they're hungry. They're looking for something to eat. They're smoking a joint, you know, and they're like, "It's good weed." And then Joe Pesci says, "It ought to be. I got it from a cop." Oh man, That's
How
such a
about?
good line. It's good.
Oh, it's
Like,
fantastic.
I mean, it's kind of like East Coast weed. Like West Coast is like Cheech and Chong,
Hmm.
smoking weed. But East Coast weed, it's like going out partying. Okay, we need to get something to eat, and then they get it from a cop. Like that's so East Coast, you know. Like LAPD, you're not going to get weed from LAPD. They're turds. You know what I mean?
You don't have to. It's legal.
Well, even in the '80s, I mean, you weren't. It's just a different culture of people. Like small town cops in Jersey and the
Yeah.
suburbs in New York are totally different fucking people than LAPD. You know what I mean? Um,
Hmm.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but whatever. I'm at the part at the wedding now. Oh yeah, yeah. When he has to take aspirin at the wedding because he's so hungover and he drinks the holy water.
Yeah.
You hear his boy in the background speaking like muddled Italian, and he basically calls him a disgrace. Oh, he's a disgrace. He is. Oh no, disgraziado. Oh man. And then, oh yeah, so they're going to the restaurant, and remember they pull up to the restaurant, and they're like, "I'm so hungry, I could eat the waitress," and then the fucking lights go out, and they pan to the side of them because it's a shot of outside the restaurant. Like they park, and the car's like barely off the street, like it's like
They just
still
mounted
in
the
the
curb
street.
and drove
Yeah, it's
drove
like
into
on
the
the curb.
bushes.
They get out and they're walking, and all of a sudden, all the lights go out of the restaurant. They go to like a low angle shot so you can see the sign open 23 hours. Oh my god.
Uh,
This is the most anybody's ever talked. I think we talked about this movie for longer than the movie actually is. Nobody cares as
Probably.
much. It's just a great comedy. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you picked this. Like last week was Wise Blood, and I mean that movie's so out there and
Yeah.
it's so random and just weird, and the nature of it isn't too kind. And
I was gonna
yeah,
say
this is the perfect.
the thing about the first two movies that we did, as much as we like them,
Is they're fucking
and
depressing?
they're miserable. Yeah, and I mean, there's some funny shit in both, especially Wise Blood. But like, you can't watch Wise Blood multiple times a year.
No,
You
I could
should.
always.
You shouldn't.
Easy Money is one of those movies where I didn't watch it for a long time,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden I saw that it was. I was like, "Oh, wonder if it's on Blu-ray," just as a joke. So I think I said to Joe, I was like, I says, I don't think when they made Easy Money, and this goes to show you how ignorant I was. The guy who shot Superfly shot this, but um, I says, I don't think when they created this movie, they ever thought of high definition to be a thing, you know.
No.
So I was skeptical, but then the Blu-ray was amazing. Then you find out, yeah, it's shot amazing because you know, it's shot
Yeah.
amazing. So
The other thing about this movie that I wanted to talk about, mainly because it's there's a scene in the film.
oh yeah,
It's
I know.
it's kind of in the middle. There's a montage. It's after he's accepted the whole task of going clean and sober for a year so that his family will get the money in. And there's a long montage of him struggling with working out and just taking prescription pill bottles out of the
Oh
out of the
yeah,
medicine
dumping
cabinet.
out.
He's clearly addicted to pills, and yeah.
Oh yeah.
But there's this scene, and this was probably maybe 3 years ago. You came over. We were hanging
Right.
out. You had just got
Right. That leads to where I was saying.
Blu-ray.
Like I bought it. It was a
double pack.
2-movie double feature Blu-ray
Yeah.
that was like the blue collar comedy set, and it was Easy Money and Men at Work, which is amazing.
It's one of my favorite 80s comedies, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're watching it, and, whatever, we're just chilling, watching
Mhm.
it. But there's a sequence in the middle of the him working out montage
Mhm.
that we never noticed before.
No.
Neither of us for as many times as we've seen the movie. You've seen the movie more than I have, probably.
Oh yeah. Growing
And
up, we watched this nonstop.
yeah, it's just, and it was this little moment that you could easily miss. And we were watching it, and we both noticed it for the first time at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let you tell them.
Okay, so yeah, it's his first day. No drugs, no philandering. Obviously, no strip clubs. And are you talking about the one where he comes outside on his porch?
Yep.
So he comes outside his porch. He's in his backyard, and he sees his neighbor's wife, who is like, like a typical like something that would have been out of like a fucking Warrant video. Just this large-breasted blonde just tanning naked in her yard. And he sees her, and it's like all of a sudden, because it's about temptation too.
Yeah.
So he's tempted right away. So he comes out, and I never noticed this, probably because I've always had this on VHS. The quality's always been shitty, and they compress it down so much you're not seeing the whole screen. And there's like other cuts where it's edited. So if you were watching this on TBS, it would have probably just been totally out. But there's a scene where he has a little trash can, like a little outdoor, little tiny, like maybe waist-high plastic tiny trash can. Usually people use them now for like recycle bins and shit. But it's in front of him, and as soon as he sees her, all of a sudden you see the trash can that's in front of him fly down the stairs, and it's like, oh, he had a boner. Like, he knocked it down with his butt. Like, that's like, I mean, okay, so there's not many, like, there's some boner scenes in movies and all that, but it was like a little gem that was in this movie that I never knew about, and you didn't know about it either. And then we're watching on like a big screen TV, high def, which, like I said, like, what?
Yeah, I think I looked over you and I said, did he just knock over that trash can with his boner?
I think he had a boner. Like, when he knocked it over, and we were dying. Like, that.
Yeah.
I think the only other scene that had us laughing that hard was going back to when Julio is trying to get Allison back. Because there's two scenes specifically.
Oh, yeah.
The one, he has his buddy hide in the hedges, and he's feeding him lines. Because, like, Julio has no game. Like, obviously, they put that with the story he created that I told earlier. Like, he has no game at all. So his boy is feeding him lines. He's hiding in a bush. And they can tell he's there because they can hear him too. And he's like, Allison, come down. I'm the man. He's like, you got to be tough, man. You got to be there. And he goes, you got to be bad. And he's like, Allison, I am so bad. Then he goes, I am so bad. I should be in detention. Like, and then he says something real stupid. And then he gets pissed off at his friend. He just jumps into the bush and starts. Oh, and remember the little sister, the younger sister, and the mom come to the window to Allison. They're like, what's going on? And they're like, Julio's outside. And the little sister says, and he's talking to a bush. So he jumps in the bush and starts beating up his poor friend that's trying to help. Oh, fuck. Okay. It gets even better because that didn't work. Next, they just come to the conclusion that, like, well, she's not going to come out of the house to see me. She doesn't want to talk to me. We're going to break in. And, like, he said, so they climb up, like, the side of the house, and they make it up this one pole, this tiny pole, which they're, like, setting you up. They're, like, showing, okay, so there's this little pole that they're going to use to climb up.
With electrical wires attached to it.
With tons of electrical wires. Why would that be in between houses? Like,
New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, even in North Brown, like, ours were, like, of course, we did have some electrical lines in between houses, I think. That's weird when you're that close to your neighbor and like you literally could like touch your house and touch theirs at the same time.
Yeah.
But anyways, I digressed on that. So they climb up and they break in and they're in the bathroom and like there's this brilliant shot of like Rodney just staggering around the house. And he's like going to the bathroom and they like hold the door shut so he won't get in. And like Taylor Negron just out of nowhere goes,
We're in here.
we're in here. And then like there's a great shot of Rodney like walking away like, what the fuck? And then he just shakes his head and he's like, whatever, you know.
He totally bought it.
So then and they decide they have to bail. So his friend starts escaping the house first, and he's on the pole, and the pole breaks, and the power lines come down, and all you hear is you see him go down real slow between houses, and then all you hear is him like he's like in pain and everything. And he's like got real fucked up and electrocuted. And you hear like broken like Spanish coming out. And then Taylor Negron's just still hiding in the bathroom while this shit's going on. And they don't even go back to it. Like they don't.
No.
It's just something that happened. And we fucking died. Like that seriously is still one of my favorite comedic scenes in a movie. Like really, like that's another thing why we picked this movie. And I've said it earlier, like people talk about best comedies of all time, and they bring up some great movies, but this movie doesn't ever seem to make that list. And it's just like, why? Like, are you fucking crazy?
Well, I mean, they talk about Caddyshack sometimes, but I think this is way funnier than Caddyshack.
Funny. Okay.
No.
Take Bill Murray and take Rodney Dangerfield and some of the, because Chevy Chase was pretty much playing the straight man in that movie.
Yeah.
And the most important character, the funniest character in Caddyshack is Spalding, the idiot son, and was it Wayne Knight or whoever played the grandfather? Yeah, he's fucking hysterical in that movie. But outside of that Caddyshack, like the kids, I think the bummer of the movie Caddyshack is the kids aren't fucking funny at all.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. I was never into Caddyshack growing up.
Not as much as this movie. And it was always a double feature. Like when you would watch TBS or HBO, Caddyshack, and then this. You know.
Well, I don't know. When I would see a double feature, it would be this and Caddyshack 2.
Oh yeah.
They would never show.
We should find a way to appreciate Caddyshack 2, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't mind Caddyshack 2. I don't.
I mean,
I don't know. It's bad, but is it the most offensive thing ever made?
Well, that's why, like, people will bring up, like, Animal House, which, yeah, Animal House is a hilarious movie, but it's not the funniest college movie ever made.
No.
I actually thought the two funniest college movies ever made were, it's just in my opinion, I mean, Animal House is, don't get me wrong, it's amazing. And everything that spun, that came out of that was even better. Because you had Landis, Belushi, all the actors in it are great. I think the big disconnect with me and Animal House was most of the lead actors were they were just so much older than college people. Like they just didn't buy, like, most of them, like Peter Riegert or whatever his name is. Like he was like fucking like 40 when he was in that movie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from it. It's still a hilarious movie, but to me the funniest college movies of all time were PCU and dude, we should do. The problem with PCU is it's really hard to find. Like it's like you would have to pay like. I think the last time I checked the DVD, it's been out of print. It's like $50, and it's not on any of the streaming services. But PCU is a heavy hitter as far as good comedies. And I would say that and Old School, great college movie. Even though they weren't in college, it was a great fucking college movie. Van Wilder,
PCU. Let's see if PCU is on Fire Stick anywhere.
If we can find it, we need to cover that movie. That movie's amazing.
PCU unavailable. It says.
Of course, I don't talk to my Fire Stick. I don't want to talk to it.
Sometimes I'm just.
Every once in a while I'll talk to the Comcast remote, but
I'm too lazy and fucked up on this.
Yeah, it's true.
Batman.
How long are we into this? What time is it?
I don't know.
Oh, we've been on for like an hour and a half, maybe even longer.
I think.
But so let's get further through the movie. So
yeah, we're coming up to the end. So
Monty pretty much is able to do it. You know, he's able to lose the weight and get the inheritance, which, working in wills, I don't know if it would necessarily work out like that, from what I know,
No,
but,
no.
I mean, if it's a will, it's, whatever. But it's then revealed that the mom, his mother-in-law, who he thought was dead, wasn't dead. She faked her death to teach him a lesson, and obviously he still gets to keep the money. She's great in it, by the way, the woman who plays the mom, because she's such a wasp, but she's so funny at it at the same time.
Yeah, her character is so enraging.
Like when she starts talking about, like pretty much being a slave driver to the workers, but it's like a department store. What are you fucking talking about? She wrote them like sled dogs. Like, they fucking work in a department store. Like, I know retail shit, but it's not digging ditches,
Right, yeah. That actress also, I can't remember her name, but she also played the grandmother in Poltergeist 2.
Oh, yeah.
It was Grandma Jess. Remember she died in the movie?
She died.
That movie's gross.
Oh, and how about the scene that never would happen in a movie ever, but it's a brilliant comedy scene of when Joe Pesci, there's a shot, I'm watching it right now. There's a wide, like kind of a two-person shot at a picnic table. Rodney Dangerfield and Joe Pesci are in a park. And in the middle of them, in the distance, you see see a guy in a trench coat and a hat, okay?
Yeah.
Talking to a little kid, sitting on a thing with a little kid, and they're talking, and then Rodney pulls attention to it. And this is just brilliant. This is just well-written, well-executed comedy, and it's fucked up, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's done so funny that it's like, So he goes, look at him. He's with his kid. He's bouncing him on his lap. He loves him. Then all of a sudden, you see this mom run up to the kid, grab the kid, and a cop shows up, grabs the guy with the trench coat and says, let me see your ID, sir. And the guy, if you listen hard enough, the guy says, it's in my other trench coat. Fucking creep. Then there's the classic Christmas scene I just watched of him on the stationary bike. They bought him a stationary bike. So it's a series of the stationary bike. And I mean, this is another scene that's so funny and special. Because every once in a while, like, my dad did some sports things or like some, especially once he got into golf, because golf has the weirdest fucking gadgets ever. And dudes will just buy it,
Mm-hmm.
We would always laugh when he would get something. He would test it out. We would just fucking laugh. Like, so him getting that bike and they're laughing at him going, and then I guess something happens where the how it's balanced, it breaks and the wheel hits and he goes like right into the Christmas tree.
His wife just laughs at him.
I mean, they're obviously really laughing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Obviously it was a fun set working on this movie. But like I said too, the timing of it's really fucking on. Like every character, at least the ones that they let do comedy, really nails it. Especially like Taylor Negron, his friend. Uh, they really nail all the timing, and it's just it's what makes a great comedy. Like other comedies, I feel kind of like a good example is The Jerk, uh, of how some characters nail the comedy and the rest are just there to be straight. Obviously, the family is hilarious and sweet, and you love the family from The Jerk. And then there's what's his Emmett Walsh or whatever his character who wants
Emmett Walsh.
Emmett Walsh. W who's Emmett Walsh? But yeah, Emmett Walsh is really funny in that movie. But yeah, these it just hits beats that it's not in a lot of movies. I think it has a lot to do with Rodney's stand up, and yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this movie for almost 2 hours now, so we're
Longer
gonna
than the movie.
wrap this up. It's on Prime Video. Whoever's watching this, if you want to watch it.
Yeah, it's on Prime, and then I think the Shout Factory Blu-ray is still in print. It's really cheap. I think we picked it up for like $15, and it's a double pack. It comes with Men at Work.
Yeah.
So it's well worth it.
And there's so many clips of this movie on YouTube too.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Like, I mean, people talk about it. Like, I saw something of like the best movies of the 90s or no, it was just the top 100 movies of all time, and Heat wasn't on there. I'm like, wait a second. So like you put Dark Knight on there, which is amazing, but you don't put what Dark Knight pulled from to make it so great, and that's Heat.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, it's the last, as far as starring roles, it's probably one of the last really brilliant performances from both De Niro and Pacino.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm at the scene where Julio's friend. Here, I'm going to turn it up. I want to end with this. Can you hear that? Oh, and then they're at the Mexican restaurant. They're ordering all this food. And this is so us, too. Just like going out, order a shit ton of food. And then he orders a junior salad. And remember, they're like, Tom Noonan's talking to him with food in his mouth. And he's like, you going to eat those olives? They're like sorting through this little bowl of salad. And they're like using their bare hands, just eating things.
Do you want the green one or the black one?
What's that? Oh, yeah, the green one or the black one. I'll take the green one. You want the black one? I'm just watching it, so I'm just letting it play.
I turned it off. I watched it like twice this week.
Joe Pesci's like, when the going gets tough gets going. And Rodney Dangerfield goes, but what if I'm not tough?
How about the scene at the end when Joe Pesci tries to kill the old lady on the boat?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They have to hold him back from killing like 5 people in that movie.
How about the scene? I'm on this scene now. It's a classic scene in the movie. Now, I did find footage of Rodney on Johnny Carson promoting this movie, and he showed the scene where he's trying to take the picture of the fat kid on the hobby horse, and the kid keeps going crazy, and you can tell he's like really off the wagon. He's like a total mess. And this kid won't shut up, and the family's annoying. And he says, well, somebody shut the fat little bastard up. There's a scene that's even funnier than that. Right after, when he's talking to his wife, and he goes, he had a rough day at work, blah blah blah, and then he's like, you know, Rose and so. She's like, yeah. He's like, I called their kid a fat bastard, and the wife starts laughing. Like, he doesn't like say, oh, that's horrible. She don't, you know. He said, I called the kid a fat bastard. Oh man, you couldn't do that now either.
No.
People
You
still
could,
do that.
you could try. You could try.
They still talk shit to people.
Oh yeah.
It's
People
funny
say they
as hell,
don't,
though.
but they fucking do.
Well, you know what? What else did we go? Oh, how about let's just go through some of our favorite little highlights to sum this up. There's another part towards the end where he's eating pistachios.
Oh yeah. He's like,
He's
I
not.
like the shells.
I like the shells. All you hear is like crunching, and he goes, "I like the shells."
Or how they're carried those like whole meatballs with like the
Oh yeah,
with
yeah,
the,
like Swedish meatballs
the
with toothpicks in them.
they're like this big.
Oh yeah, they put a little
Meat-
toothpick in a
meatball?
giant meatball, and then they bring them sushi, and the woman bringing them sushi's dressed on like a full-on face paint, everything, makeup, geisha, and
Yeah.
they're on a boat. Oh man! And they're like, why don't you cook it? Like, why don't you bring it back to me when it's cooked or whatever he says?
Oh, and then the scene I told you about earlier, like, when he's getting out of the water, it's covered in seaweed.
Yeah, it's the part where he's on a yacht or his boat and just living it up, just balling. And I think that's the scene where they find out the mom's still alive.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the scene they find because he gets the money and she shows up on the boat, and oh man, he just comes out of the water. He just had seaweed all like. Wait, what? Like, really?
like a lot of seaweed. He's just standing there like.
I think that's the funniest like swimming scene outside of the scene in the scene in Rushmore where Bill Murray goes up to the high diving board in the Budweiser shorts and he has his drink and his cigarette and he just jumps in the pool. But just the way he's walking in his Budweiser shorts, that's really fucking funny. So what else in this movie? Did we announce next week's yet? What did we agree on for next week's?
Oh, well, yeah, well, that's funny. We like to, agree on the movie that we're doing next week. By the time that we do this, so we can announce it. But this last movie, we literally agreed on. I think 3 minutes before we started this, this show, and it changed probably 4 times since we were considering it. But the movie that we decided to do next week is we felt that we needed to do some horror.
Mm-hmm.
We did Exorcist 3, but I mean, I don't know.
We didn't cover that as if it was a horror movie.
Yeah,
we kind of did. I mean, yeah. I guess. I mean, you know. I mean, we're just so taken back by like Ed Flanders and fucking
the fish. Fish in the
most he's ever been talked about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we basically eulogized that motherfucker.
Yeah, Ed Flanders. But anyway, next week we're going to be doing Insidious.
And that's mostly, and that's going to lead into the theme of what it's like to just go out and behave bad. I mean, not hurt anybody or offend anybody, but just go out, laugh, you know, maybe get stoned, maybe have some beers, whatever. We're going to talk more about our experience of seeing Insidious for the first time in the actual movie. Because the movie's cool, but whatever.
Yeah.
Our experience of seeing the movie, you know, there's some some things you just have to experience, and that, you know,
If,
that'll
if
never change. It was like, I mean, like the first time we saw Annihilation.
yeah, we were just kind of like,
Yeah, yeah, we went too deep on that. I think I saw that movie like 2 days in a row.
yeah, I didn't. I just waited. I just, just waited till the Blu-ray came out. Like, um, but yeah, we're gonna do Insidious. I think that theater that we saw it in, if there had been any more people in that screening, we probably would have got thrown out.
What, Insidious? Yeah, there was like
Yeah,
nobody there.
yeah,
And it was like North Purcell's Distinta. Wasn't it Distinta?
yeah, it was Distinta at the time.
That's how we got away with it.
Yeah, we were pretty horrible.
And we sat on the floor.
Fell on the floor. Really.
Yeah, I'm not into stadium seating anymore. I'd rather sit, you know, the ones on the floor, they're fine. They're a little elevated, they're fine. I don't need. And remember, I get mad at those recliner theaters with the recliners and shit.
We saw Blade Runner 2049 and those seats were on an empty stomach, so we were.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk
So
about
next week we're doing Insidious. It'll be a lot shorter than this because there's not a lot of movie to talk about, even though it's a cool movie. We're mostly just going to talk about that experience. So next week, either Saturday or Friday evening, we will be back with Insidious. Yeah, I mean, easy money. It's classic. If you haven't seen it, I'd suggest watching it. Watch it with a group of friends. Well, you can't watch it with a group of friends yet. Maybe soon, or just fuck it, just do it. Just fucking go balls to the wall. I don't care anymore. I really don't care anymore. You know, I'm not going to go Texas. I mean, I don't care, but you can figure some shit out. Just get tested.
They wouldn't get it.
Fuck
Texans wouldn't get it.
Well, they live like this movie, so they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
This movie, but with guns. But I have Texas. I don't care. I like Texas. I don't give a fuck. You gotta have crazy people. Yeah. Texas or Florida.
Otherwise, movies like this wouldn't exist.
I feel like I'd have a way better time around people from Texas than people from Florida. Outside of like Miami, maybe.
I mean, I've been to Florida.
Yeah. I kind of feel if I went to Texas, I'd be like, I kind of love this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbecue. It's not really anything in Florida.
No.
Palm trees.
Outside of Cuban food and like I said, Miami.
Yeah.
A little bit of culture.
I got some really delicious Cuban food on Miami Beach. I will say that. Fuck yeah, it was delicious.
But yeah, we're gonna end this. It's been like 2 hours. We don't need to send off. Thank you for joining us for Easy.
Yeah. It was longer than the movie. We apologize.
It's longer than the fucking movie, and I'm gonna like really try and tag Easy Money a lot in this because I want people to watch it because no one talks about it like this. Maybe no one's gonna care. I made fun of Star Trek fans. I made fun of boomers a lot. I didn't make fun of them. I just told them what they were. You know what I mean? I did the nature of some of these people. They need to chill. So
yes.
But anyways, peace out, everybody. This will be on YouTube soon. Whatever.
Yes, it'll be on YouTube. I don't think episode 2 is on YouTube yet, though. I think we forgot to put that up.
Yeah, I forgot to put that up.
We'll put that up.
This is Wise Blood. That episode was so crazy. This is a great episode, though. I'm not saying Wise Blood was a bad episode by any means. It's just a better content to work with. That's the thing with these shows that we're learning is it's the content you're working with. And Wise Blood is so funny because it's so out there. It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
But really weird. It's not like, Insidious weird. Like, oh, there's a fucking ghost up on the wall and you turn the light, it's not there. Ooh, whoop-de-fuck. Nah, it's like real realistic shit. I can't wait to talk about it's going to be of our adventure going to see Insidious.
Right, yeah. We'll preface it by saying that it's going to be mostly about us watching Insidious than Insidious because it's way more interesting than watching Insidious.
Yeah. So, all right. So, signing off. All. Good night. Whatever. Peace out.
Later.
Later.